very loud. So welcome and to week 3 of our mini olive. Um, Today we are looking at writing task 2, and we're going to talk about sentence structure. Sentence structure is the easiest way to raise your grammar level. And there are a few little tricks. If you think about a sentence in this structured way, it is easier to write the kind of compound and complex sentences that you need for the IELTS exam. Okay, so I have adjusted the schedule slightly, so if you've been following from the beginning, we started with, and you can look at these in the recordings if you did miss the time, or if you want to remember and have a look at it again. So in week 1, we had an overview of the whole exam, and then we worked specifically on the reading exam techniques. And there was one very important thing that we needed to walk away from that study with. And that's an understanding that the questions come first. If you understand the question, everything is easy. You will have time to read because you know what you're reading for. You will be able to listen because you know what you're listening for. So, and in writing task 1, what did we do? We looked at the question. How do we do this? What do we do? What is the question? What information are they looking for from us? Right? So, week 1, exam overview, reading techniques, and how to understand how to focus and use those questions to make everything faster and better. Week 2, once again, using those questions so we know what to listen for, and looking at the problem solving. How do we describe data, right, for exam task 1? So today we are going to be doing writing task 2. We're going to look at the question and see how we pull an essay out of that question. And then I'm going to spend the second half of the class working on sentence structure. How do we deal with grammar structures? How do we use what we know, all that beautiful vocabulary we're getting from News and Levels, BBC 6-Minute English, and all the other sources that we use? How do we use those to create those big, fat, complex, compound sentences that will raise our grammar level in the exam? So next week, I'm going to finish because I think, so if people have another idea, please send me messages about it. But I've decided, I think the best use of our time, we've got this little extra bit of time this go round. And so I've decided that the best use of our time is to go back over the strategy review so that you've got an outline of, okay, for this section, these are the things I need to focus on, for this section, so that you've got it all in one place. And then we'll look at the speaking exam, kind of to put the cherry on the cake. And hopefully by then you'll be on your way anyway to getting through the IELTS exam. And all of this information about the IELTS exam, all of these skills will make you a better student at university as well. So it's not just about getting through the exam. It really isn't. These are skills, many of these skills I wish I had been taught before I went to university, oh so very long ago. So hopefully this will prove useful to you even if you don't end up having to take the IELTS exam. let's get started with today. So, the writing exam, task 2, the opinion essay, right? So, once again, in the writing test, you've got 1 hour to write 2 essays. This is why we're looking at the skills that make the writing fast, easy, and accurate. Okay, so 20 minutes for the first task, describing data. And what are we going to do for the first 3 to 5 minutes in that exam? At the beginning of task 1, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to make come on, make a plan, right? We need to plan our writing in order to get all the points. Okay? All right. So, task 2, 40 minutes. Right, we've done our data. We've written about data. It's gotten us nice and warmed up. We've got our grammar muscles flexed. And so now we've got an opinion essay to write. Let's look at the question and find out what it is. All right? So, in the second task, we're going to write an essay in response to a point of view, an argument, or a problem, giving a clear statement of your position and supporting it with relevant details. Both of these tasks need to be written in a formal style. Okay? So, what does that mean? Not a lot of I statements. If you've got a lot of I statements, you probably need to readjust. Let's talk. Okay, so that's what a formal style means. We need to use proper language, no phrasal verbs, very few idioms. And there we go. So here we are. Once again, just like task 1, there are 4 criterion. All right, there are 4 criterion: task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, otherwise known as vocabulary, and grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, there's 4 of them. How many of them are grammar and vocabulary? Only half. The first 2 are the ones that we're going to focus on, because these are the ones that depend, these marks are absolutely dependent on how well you read the question and plan your answer. If you do not plan your answer, if you simply say, oh, I know what I'm going to write, and start writing, you will not get above a band 5 on the writing. Okay, I know it sounds, I don't usually speak in absolutes, but this is an absolute, and here's why. If you start writing without a plan, look at this, only partially addresses a position. The development is not always clear. Presents some main ideas, but they're not developed. Okay, if you start writing from your head, that is what will happen. Okay, so if you do not make a plan, you cannot get above a band 5 on your writing. Not for half the mark. Okay, you can have a level 8 grammar and vocabulary, but if you didn't make a plan and your sentences are jumbled, I mean, they might be clear, but they're not in any particular order, and there's no logical progression to what you say, then these 2 marks are half your exam mark. Okay, half your mark depends on you looking at that question, understanding the question, analyzing it, taking it apart, and planning your response. So look at this, coherence and cohesion. Some organization, but lack of overall progression, may not write in paragraphs. Either little or inaccurate use of cohesive devices. I'm going to give you a list of those to work on. You know how I usually don't give people vocabulary lists? These are ones you need to become familiar with. But you've got to use them before the exam so that you really understand how they're used. Now notice band 6 arranges information and ideas coherently. Look at that. Information and ideas are arranged coherently. There is a clear overall progression. Uses paragraphing. Okay, maybe not perfectly, but paragraphing. Okay, that's how you get the band 6. That's how you get the band 6. You've already made a plan. Maybe you're not fantastic at maybe you scrambled your paragraphs a little bit, but you had a clear idea and a clear plan of what you were going to write. Band 7. I know you guys can do this. These two are the easy part. Doesn't matter where your grammar level is, you can still raise these 2 marks as high as a 7. All right? That's by analyzing the questions so that you are addressing all parts of the task with a clear position. You've made your statement and supported it throughout the response. Okay? Presents and extends the main ideas. Coherence and cohesion. So that's understanding the question. Logically organizes information and ideas with a clear progression throughout. Uses a range of cohesive devices and presents a clear central topic within each paragraph. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. A little planning can erase half your mark. So, okay, maybe you're on the cusp. Maybe you're on the cusp of a 6 in grammar and in vocabulary. Or, okay, maybe you are. Maybe you're on the cusp. Maybe you've got just 5.5 to 6 on your vocabulary. Look at what you can do. These are independent. They're not stuck together. If you can write a logically informed essay, you can pull that mark higher than your vocabulary level. All right. So that's why we're doing what we're doing today. I'm going to stop proselytizing about the joys, wonders, and benefits of planning and show you how we do it. Okay, off we go. So what do? Look at all of this. We have two-thirds of our work happens before the part we think is most important. First, analyze the question. Second, brainstorm ideas. Third, plan. Just put numbers, put drawing, figure out how you're going to organize those wonderful ideas that you've had. Now, write the introduction. Now, I have my youngest son, I taught him to write essays, and I was trying to figure out how to explain essays for him. And he was doing karate at the time. And so I made a kata. A kata is a pattern of movements that you repeat in order to learn a new motion. So our kata for this was tell us what you are come on, I can do this. Going to tell us. All right. That's the introduction. Tell us what you're going to tell us. I can do this. There we go. Over 1. It's not letting me do it. Here we go. Tell us. Tell us. Tell us. Okay. So, tell us what you're going to tell us. The introduction, yeah, is kind of like the plan. The plan is something you write before you write anything. If you don't have the plan, you can't write the introduction because you don't know what you're going to say or what order you're going to say it in. Okay? So the introduction is when you say, this is what my essay is going to be. These are the main headings. These are the main points I'm going to cover, and this is what I think about it. Okay? Those are the 3 things you need in your introduction. What is this about? So you restate the question. What are the main points I'm going to cover? And what do I think about it? That goes into your introduction. And all those, the introduction and the conclusion are merely a reiteration. They're a summary of the most important part, which is this. Okay? So these are your examples that are supporting your position, that state the meat. This is the only part that we have to plan. Once we've made the plan of what these 2 paragraphs are going to be, then we know exactly how to summarize. Okay? We know how to summarize it here and summarize it there. So the only thing we need to think of is what is going in these 2 paragraphs. All right? So, because once we know what we're going to tell you, once you know what you're going to tell us, all right, once you know what you're going to tell us, then in the introduction, you tell us what you're going to tell us. Then you tell us, and you tell us, and then you tell us what you told us. Okay? So basically, all we're writing are 2 big, fat, gorgeous paragraphs and a pair of summaries. Getting a little bit easier now, eh? I hope. All right. So in the essay, the introduction, as I said, tell us what you're going to tell us. Rephrase the essay question, state your position. So important. State your position. And list the topics. What are the main topics going to be for these 2 paragraphs? Right? Please do not use the words in this essay, I will. We know it's an essay and we know what you're going to do. But what you can do is state your position, and I hold this position for these 2 reasons. All right? And then the conclusion is a summary again. Okay? This is really important. Rephrase the essay question and state your position. Because in each of these paragraphs, the last sentence is going to link to your personal opinion again. Because the whole point is it needs to be supported throughout the essay. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we need to do, as we saw up here, we're starting with number 1, analyze the question. So let's take a look at the question. Here's what we're going to look for. We're going to look for background information. All right. What is the setting? So there's going to be information in the question that is not in question. It's stated as fact. So anything in the question that is stated as fact is background information. So will we be discussing anything that's stated as a fact? Probably not. Okay. So it will be a main topic. It will be statements of facts. Now we need to look for the question. What is the actual question that's being asked? What are you being asked to do? What is or are the main ideas? And what are you being asked to form an opinion on? All right. So, ready? So we've got two things to look for: background information, details of the question, main idea, position required. All right. Ready? Let's go. All right. So here's our question. The rising cost and decreasing supply of fossil fuels such as oil and gas, along with environmental concerns, means that their continued use as our main source of energy is impractical and alternative sources must be found. The only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. So, to what extent do you agree or disagree? All right. That's the question. Sorry, that should have been separate. Okay. So, there's our question. What have we got? And this is actually my statement. I'm going to make that smaller. Yeah. Right. So let's look at this. Can you, if you've got the ability to do annotate, right, using the pencil icon, please feel free to do some annotating here. I want you to find the background information. Okay? What is the main topic? What is the main topic? Can you find the main topic?
The main topic is alternative energy.
Um, okay. We could say it's roughly, yeah, we could say it's alternative energy, but in what way? So, all right. So, where's the background information? Can you highlight what I would like for you to do is tell me what is background information? What is not going to be debated?
The effect of the fossil fuel in the environment.
We're getting closer. Oh, actually, that was going to be, it's going to be green. So, can you see that the entire first sentence is the background? Okay, we're looking for the active verb in this sentence. right now we've got clauses. The rising cost and decreasing supply of fossil fuels, such as oil and gas, comma, that's a phrase, there's no active verb in there, along with environmental concerns, another comma, means that their continued use, so there refers to oil and gas, continued use as our main source of energy, their continued use is impractical. And that's our actual verb. Our verb is actually the is. And alternative sources must be found. Okay. So this is, do you see how this is stated as fact? Right? But it's all background information. It is saying why we need alternative sources, right? So oil and gas, continued use is impractical. Alternative sources must be found. Okay. So have we gotten to the question yet? There's one more statement. So that whole first sentence, that is all background. Okay. It's giving reasons why they can't, their use is impractical, right? But where is the opinion statement in this? What are they asking for you to agree or disagree with? So this is setting up the condition, but do you see that this is the question statement? All right. And you're being asked to agree or disagree with it. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Was everybody with me? Okay. So this is how we figure out what it is we need to talk about. So what the question really is, and now I'll make this bigger again. So there we go. All right, that's a good size. So what they're really asking is, how much do you either agree or disagree that nuclear energy is the only practical solution to fossil fuels? All right, do you see how that came together? All right, so they've made a statement that an alternative to fossil fuels needs to be found. And they've made the very bold statement, well, they've given the background that we need to find alternatives. And then their statement is that only nuclear energy is realistic. What do we mean by realistic? Can you think? What does that mean? What does realistic mean?
Practical.
Practical, that's a great word to go with it. Yep. So practical is the only practical. So what does it mean to be practical? It means maybe cost effective, maybe available. Doesn't work out very well if it's not available as an alternative, right? So there's ways that we can work with this. So the only realistic alternative is nuclear energy. Do you agree or disagree? And how much do you agree or disagree? Okay, so, right. All right, that was another analysis. So now we know, all right, so we know what we're asking. The real question is, how much do you agree or disagree that nuclear energy is the only practical solution to fossil fuels, which we've already set up as an environment, as our background, that fossil fuels have to be replaced. All right. So, are we focused? Do we understand the question? Let's see if you understand the question. Which of these statements about that question is true or false? Number one, the question asks whether or not fossil fuels are impractical. Is that true or false? You can put your answers in the chat as well if you want. What do you think? Does the question ask whether or not fossil fuels are impractical?
It's true for me.
It's false for me.
But did the question ask it?
No.
No. So that one would be false. Right. Here, we're going to stay focused on the question. Remember, we have this analysis, right? This was our analysis, our paraphrase, trying to figure out what they're asking us to do. All right, so I'll put this on the page as well, so that we've got it here. So there's our question. Remember, this was our analysis of the question. How much do you either agree or disagree that nuclear energy is the only practical solution to fossil fuels? So what do you think? Should you give a detailed description of how fossil fuels cause global warming? In this essay?
True.
Is that going to answer the question? Remember, we've got our question here. In that question, was there any doubt or was it a background statement of fact? This is what you need to, this is what I mean by analyze the question. You've got to set aside, you've got to set aside background information, use it, but you've got to find the question, the core of the question. All right. And your opinion has to be laser focused on that question. So, do you think in this essay you should give a detailed description? Remember, you've only got 40 minutes and you've only got 250 words to do this in. Do you think you should give a detailed description of how fossil fuels cause global warming? Is
Not
that
a
what this is?
not a detailed description, but you can point to them to that
Yeah, maybe a small, you
slide.
might mention, you could mention it, but only in as much as the things that you are suggesting do not. Okay, but no, not a, remember, read this detailed, should you give a detailed description of how fossil fuels cause global warming? No. You will not be answering this question because that doesn't answer this question. And what we need to do is answer this question. So this is why this slide is called Stay Focused on the Question. All right. The question asks whether Nuclear energy is a good alternative to fossil fuels. What about that?
It's
Is
true.
that correct? Yes. Now we've got one. Excellent. You should discuss the arguments for and against nuclear energy.
So
Yes, exactly. Because this is the thing that determines practical, right? We have to discuss it to some degree because we need to know whether or not nuclear energy is practical. So, yes, arguments for and against nuclear energy are very important for whether or not it is practical to answer that part of the question. How about you should discuss arguments for and against fossil fuels? Part
no.
of the question. What do you think? Should we discuss arguments for and against fossil fuels? Good,
False.
Patty. Exactly. Exactly. That is background information. It is stated as fact. It's not part of the question. Right. You should mention other alternative energy sources. True or false?
True.
What we're going to be doing is comparing nuclear energy to other alternative energy sources to determine which one is the most practical. Is nuclear the only practical, or are other ones also practical? How about you should give historical accounts of nuclear disasters?
No.
Not really. It's not an
Why?
essay about that.
Why?
Okay. You might mention, though, the fact that there have been, that it's one of the things that makes nuclear energy less practical, but not, once again, it's in the wording, not a detailed historical account. It might be worth mentioning if we're talking about what's practical, but that's different from a detailed account. All right. Good. We're focusing on the question. We know what we're going to say. We're starting to get there. So let's look at this. Now, I showed you the chart method on task one. I really think it works well on task two because usually there's two sides to an argument. So especially one where you've got to say how much you agree or disagree. All right. So here are some ideas. Can you think of any? Why would you agree? What are some ideas that you would have about nuclear energy? What do you think of it? What do you think of nuclear energy versus other alternatives? Which would you say is the most practical? So see what you think. Can you add to these? What are some ideas you have? Can you think of any others? So you wanted to say, Mohammed, you were talking, you wanted history of nuclear. Hmm, I can't. Hi. Accidents. Oh, say accidents. So there have been many nuclear accidents. Which alternative form of energy would you advocate? Which would be your first choice for an alternative to fossil fuels? Come on, we've all got opinions.
Can you
Maddie, what
repeat
would
your
be
question, please?
your answer? What alternative form of energy would be your first choice? Would it be nuclear, or would you think that solar power will be better? Or do you think that there are problems with solar and wind is better than that? Or what do you think?
Nuclear energy.
Yeah.
For me, solar energy is better than nuclear.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
For me, the solar energy is better than the nuclear.
Okay. All right. Tell me something about solar that you would put in an essay.
Maybe it is cheaper than the nuclear energy,
Okay.
especially in the places where the summer is hotter.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Especially in the warm countries,
Oh,
the hot countries.
excellent. Excellent. Does anyone else have an idea? What would you say?
Maybe environmental friendly.
Okay, which one is environmentally friendly?
The second one.
Solar energy. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, the solar energy, yeah.
Yeah. And what elements of it are environmentally friendly? What makes it environmental?
The resources like the solar energy and wind energy, so it's yeah. Yeah, I would say like there are renewable and non-renewable energy resources. So
Okay, what makes solar energy environmentally friendly? What would make something environmentally unfriendly?
so there's pollution, for example.
Yes, okay, there we go. No pollution. Excellent. Okay. No air pollution, yeah? No pollution, comma, air, waste, because nuclear still has waste, uh, waste, storage, um, cost of building plants. Well, there's lots of things against nuclear energy, actually, compared to. All right. Okay. So this is how you need to think at the beginning of uh, the task two writing exam. All right. You need to read the question. We need to take the question apart. What find the background information like we did. What's the background information? What's the real question? And it's always going to be words like realistic or best or most effective. They'll always say something like that. All right. What's the best way for children to learn to have a good eating habits? Things, questions like that. It'll be something about best or realistic or something of that nature. So we've got to examine the question, find the background information, find the real question inside it, and then start looking, putting our ideas down. Why do I agree with this statement? Why do I disagree with this statement? And then which of these would you write about? Okay. Which of these would you write about? Now, the things that you choose, once you've made a little chart on your paper, so you go into the exam, you open the task 2 question, and you've got your paper. So you make a nice rectangle, make a nice chart like this. You've got your 2 columns. You're going to put pluses and minuses in both of them, or different ideas depending on the question. Now, what do? Now, notice when you said environmentally friendly, what did I ask? I asked for details, didn't I? That's the key. We're looking for now that we've got our ideas on paper, I'm going to look for the ideas that I could think of details, right? So here are the detail statements that we've made. Okay. So we've got different ways of organizing this. The reason these details are important, the ones that you can think of details for are the ones you want to use in your essay. All right. So let's keep going. Oh, there we go. So once again, we've looked at the task. We want to make sure that we're addressing all parts of it. We've got an idea of what we're going to say. And now it's about logically organizing it. Okay. So let's quickly go through. I've got a quiz here on, oops, sorry. I've got a quiz here on the using connections to make something coherent. Okay, and this is an example of an essay. All right. So your job, we don't have enough time to do all of this today, but when you get the PDF, which you will, is everybody getting the PDF of the slides in their email? Have you been getting the PDF of the slides? Have you been receiving them?
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay, great. So when you look at the PDF, go ahead and try these challenges. Okay, and I'll make sure that I leave them in with the answers as well. Okay, so I'll do 2 slides, one with the answers and one without. So I'll just double these slides. All right. So these are examples of putting together words for cohesion. And that will tie in all of your ideas. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do, hopefully, when you get this PDF, look at these paragraphs and see how the person organized it? All right. How did they go about organizing it? All right. So once we've got, right, once we've got our an analysis and our list of ideas and of what we're going to talk about, then we start by, so this is an example of a first paragraph. Right? Although I agree that nuclear energy is the most reasonable and practical alternative to fossil fuels, this only applies to rich countries that already possess the technology and the resources. Oh, thank you. And resources to use it. Other alternatives are more accessible to regions with fewer resources. All right. So that's an example of a first analysis. All right. So that's a position statement, and everything else should support that. Okay. So, work through the steps we covered today and use this question to write another essay. I think what I'd like to do after next week is arrange through WhatsApp to do some practice sessions on really practicing this skill of brainstorming and turning it into an essay. The faster you could do this, the easier the exam. Everyone comes to me with requesting time management. And this is how you manage your time. Just like in the reading, you manage your time by practicing reading and analyzing the questions so that you could do it quickly, so you could get to the document, so you could get to the answer. With this, it's about reading and analyzing that question so that you can get to the brainstorming and the organization and write your beautiful essay. So the more times you practice analyzing a question, finding, okay, what are the backgrounds? What is the background information that I'm going to use as the foundation for the question, but not the question itself? So these are facts that I'm not going to be questioning. And where's the question that's actually being asked? Okay. So that's the skill we need to build. Don't forget to make it short to do that, so you can practice with this one when you get these. And yes, I am always going to give you one to undo. I love unwriting. It's answering the question, how did they do this? So try and figure out what the question was that this essay was writing. And how do you break this down? What did they write in their notes in order to get to this essay? All right. So, and I've done some breakdown there as well to show you how it happened. Right. Well, we've got a break now for 5 minutes. If you've got any questions, go right ahead. I'm going to pause the recording and come back to the structure of English sentences. And this is a guide to raising that grammar level the easiest way possible. Okay. Let me make a pause. There we are. Right. So, English grammar. How can I raise my English grammar to a higher level? Well, all you have to do is write compound, complex sentences. Ugh, that's all. Yeah, that's all. But it's not hard. It's not as hard as it looks. Fortunately, some of the things that make English challenging. We're very particular about where we put things in a sentence because we're not an inflected language. We don't have gendered nouns anymore. We used to, very long time ago, but we don't have gendered nouns anymore. So we have to be careful and put things in the right place. We can't put the description of somebody at the end of the sentence because we won't know who we're talking about. We have to put the description next to the person we're talking about. But let's carry on. So, fortunately, what we can do with English is build it like a bunch of building bricks. There is a reason for this image. This image is not a joke. This is actually how English works. Right. So we start by scrolling the screen in a funny way. Come on, there we go. We start with our core sentence. It all starts with the core sentence. And the core sentence contains these things: a subject, a verb, and an object. Now, why do you think in this image, why is the verb on the bottom? What do you think is the most important thing in a sentence? Why do you think I put the verb on the bottom?
Because the verb is the main important thing in the sentence.
You win. Yes, absolutely. You do not have a sentence without an active verb. So let's see how we do this. And we can, the shortest, do you know what the shortest English sentence is? You could have a full English sentence with only one word. You use the infinitive form, the imperative form of the verb.
Go, for example.
Yes, go works. Or if you've had small children, stop. It will be the one you've used more than anything. And in that sentence, that's actually when when my son was doing something and I said, stop. The subject was you, him, the person I was talking to, and the object was whatever it was he was doing. Okay. So that's the shortest English sentence. Every English sentence has to have an active verb or it is not a sentence. Hold on. So here's our simplest form of an English sentence. Ali went to the shop. There we go. We've got a subject. We've got a verb. We've got a predicate or object. We know what. Who did what? That is an English sentence. When you can find the who did what, then you know you've got a sentence. If you cannot find who did what, double check that sentence. Okay, double check that sentence. So we've answered two questions. Who did what? Okay, but there's a lot of other questions, aren't there? Clauses are what we use in an English sentence to answer all the other questions. All right? So all of the other questions get, and there's lots of different kinds, as you see, lots of different kinds of clauses, but they all do the same thing. They take tiny little parts inside. They're little ideas that get tucked inside our core sentence. Notice, with all of the other questions, all of these clauses, what's still on the bottom? That's our verb. Okay, so let's see how this works. There we go. I don't know why this isn't scrolling properly today. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. We've got our who up here. There we go. There's Ali. All right. Oops, wrong color. Now I'm going to have to go back and highlight it again. I don't know why it doesn't do that. There we go. Ali. And where's our verb? Where's our verb? Can you find it?
Verb to go, went.
Yes, exactly. Went and to the shop. Okay, so there's our full sentence. Now, what about these other questions? When did Ali go to the shop? Which shop did he go to? Or which Ali are you talking about? How did he get to the shop? Where is that shop? Why did he go to the shop? There's loads of questions to answer. So I want each of you right now to fill in the blanks. Okay? Fill in the blanks and write a sentence. Okay? Where can you put the answer when?
The beginning.
Okay, so write a sentence. See if you can fill in all those blanks. When you put all those pieces together,
Yes.
hey, write it in the chat. Come on, you can do it.
And the chart.
Can you type it in the chat? So we've got lots of answers to which. You could be describing the shop. You could be describing Ali. How did he go? Where did he go? Why did he go? Can you see how to put these together? Okay. Somebody choose a when then. We'll do this all together. Oh, very good. Excellent. Really good, Hamid. Does anyone else have a sentence?
Yes.
Okay. Can you type it into the chat or?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Really good. Okay. So this is obviously these are simpler. So really well done, both of you. Good job. So these obviously are simpler than the complex, the kinds of sentences we would write in an essay. However, the function is exactly the same. Okay. So one of the challenges as you do go on News and Levels, you do go on 6-Minute English, you do read and expand your vocabulary. One of the challenges is keeping the words straight because your first language grammar will try and turn it into word salad. If you can break down your ideas, all right, if you've got a complicated sentence and you can break down those ideas into their parts, you can use this method, this construction format to improve and keep your grammar tight, keep it accurate. Okay. And if you can write complex and compound sentences like this in your exam, you will raise your grammar level. Okay. This is where you start to get the 6.5 and 7s in complex and compound sentences are how you get 7s in grammar. All right. So, but it is in day-to-day life. This is how we tease apart our ideas and make sure that they're understandable. All right, good job. I'm going to put both of these examples up and I will tweak the spelling later because I understand I can't spell on the fly either. I have a really hard time. Okay. Oops. One place. Delete. There we go. So I will put both of these on here as really excellent examples. So well done, both of you. And anyone else who is here who wants to add here. Oh dear. See, I told you I can't spell. There we go. Excellent. That is fantastic. So well done. You understand it. Let's do some more. All right. So here's another one. I went to the city. Okay. Why did you go? Tell me about it. When did you go? Why did you go? How did you go? What are some of the hows we could use?
But somehow,
Yeah.
you see,
What do you think? How?
how go to the city on on bus, by bus, a train,
Sure. Bus, train.
taxi,
Any other ideas? Hmm?
taxi.
See, excellent, fantastic. So, where? Tell us more about this city, or what part of the city? What do you know? Was it the city center? Was it a museum in the city? Why did you go there? Were you meeting someone?
Yes.
So how would you say that?
Why? To see my manager, example.
Excellent. Any other ideas? Hmm.
To pay my bill. To visit my family.
To
To visit my family. Visit. To visit.
oh, visit. Sorry.
Yes.
Visit. Much better. I'm sorry.
To have
That's my
exam.
ear. That's my ears not working. How about to
To have an exam.
the holiday lights? There we go.
For example, for shopping, to shopping, to
Shopping.
shop. Shopping, yeah, shopping.
Ah, there we go.
To do
To
shopping.
we
To
to
do
shop,
do
To
shopping.
shop.
correct. To go shopping is also correct. So either to shop or
To go shop.
to go shopping. So if you're
To
using the
shopping.
ing form, make sure that you've got the to go. We only use the ing form after either to be or to go or to have.
Okay.
Okay. So otherwise, just use the infinitive to
To sit
shop.
for an exam.
I'm sorry?
To sit for an exam.
To sit my exam. Yay. To sit on a exam. Excellent. Very good. All right. So we've got the idea. Okay, so we've got the wheres, we've got the whens, and all of that. Let's look at what if we're doing more than one thing? Perhaps I'm going to meet my friend because we have to sit an exam. So there's because, there's a reason, and that usually means we need another verb afterwards. All right. So let's look at some of the connectors that we use in order to compound our sentences. Some of them are what we call signposts. Signposts or ordering words are very important in when we're talking about examples. So if we were talking about the nuclear energy and we wanted to say what were the good things about it, that once it's built, it's cheap, that it's reliable, whether the sun shines or not, or the wind blows or not. With a nuclear power plant, you always have sun. Thirdly, once the power plant is built, they last for a very long time. Okay, so that's 3 reasons. All right, and using ordering words really helps. Okay. You can also use additioning to give additional information. So solar energy, however, is much better. Not only is it cheaper for more accessible for countries that do not have the technology for nuclear energy, but in addition, in a hot, sunny climate, there's a lot of sun to be had, right? It's very efficient. So that's in addition. So these are words you can use when you are adding information to your sentence. So we went to the city to meet my friend. We went shopping, and additionally, we had a splendid meal out. Okay. We went to the city not only to go shopping, but also to visit family. All right. Very important in the essays as well are to give examples. This is when we use actually some of the best language we use in essays. Presenting examples give you more language to use and make the sentences more interesting and more grammatically complex. So we always go to the city to go shopping. For example, last week I needed a coat because winter is coming on, and so I found a lovely coat there. There's lots of shops where I can find a good coat in the city. Particularly the one that makes them out of wool. So you can stress things by using particularly, in particular, specifically, and then also contrast. So let's look at one more. We've also got causes and effects. You know, I don't usually give you vocabulary lists. These are really good to read. Hold on to these, but make sure that you use them and that not only that, you look for them in News and Levels and other sources so you can see how other people are using them. All right. There we go. So how can you use this structure and News and Levels to build your grammar skills? First, find the active verb in each sentence. Find the who did what, and then find so that you know what the core of that sentence is, and then find the clauses. Okay, so we can take those News and Level sentences and use them to build our own grammar as well, because we're developing an awareness of these structures. Yes, Wilfred?
Sorry, teacher. So you say news levels and step 1, step 2, step 3. That is the best way to read the news level, or what is it?
It's an exercise that you can do to help build your grammar structures.
Okay. Understand.
There's so many reasons to read a News and Level story. Okay. 1, exposure to the subject and the information. 2, to see, as you read the 3 levels, the development of grammatic structures. And 3, to analyze the grammar so that you can become more familiar with how it works. Okay. So it's 3 different exercises. There's so many purposes for doing this. But this is, so after you've read it, you've understood the language, you have found some new vocabulary, take a moment and take it apart in this way and see how they did it. All right.
Thank you.
So let's look at this one. This is level 1. So what are we expecting in level 1? Simple sentences. Can you find all the verbs?
Okay.
Is.
Try and use your annotate. If you can find the annotate button, please go ahead and scribble on the screen. See if you can find it. It should be a pencil-shaped icon. There you go. Okay, see if you can find all the verbs. Excellent. Really good. So there we are. We have found these are all simple sentences. The story is about a man. He is from the US. He is a university student. There we go. There is a hole in the ice. The mountain is covered in ice. He climbs. Oh, finally, a different one. There we go. He goes to Nepal. Excellent. It is. The man falls. He cannot move.
Doesn't go. Das ist a verb.
I'm sorry?
Doesn't go or doesn't.
Does
The
not.
second paragraph.
He does. He
Okay.
does not want. Oh,
But go
it's
is a
actually,
verb, teacher, right?
I'm sorry?
The second paragraph,
Yes.
second line,
He doesn't
doesn't
go.
go. Which is a verb? The verb is doesn't or the verb is doesn't go.
It's okay, that's a two-part verb. It's got a helping word, does or doesn't. Um, it could be he goes all the way down, but no, he doesn't go all the way
Okay.
down. All right. Um, he can move, he cannot move. So we've got a conditional there.
Okay.
Okay. People find him the next day. Excellent. So there we go. We've got all of our verbs there. Let's look at the next level, but we've got simple sentences. No clauses to be found here. All right. So let's find the next one. There we go. We're in 2. So find the verbs. Okay.
Oh,
Very good. Okay, so there's some interesting sentences here.
yes.
We've got more verbs than sentences, haven't we? All right. So let's look at a few of them. The man thought he was going to die. He thought that he was going to die. He thought is a verb. So that's our main verb. What did he think? Okay, so who did what? The man thought. What did he think? He thought that he was going to die. Okay, do you see how that fits? We've still got our main sentences, the man thought. And then what did he think? That he was going to die is the whole predicate. Okay. So his arm and 5 ribs were broken. So one of the things I want to highlight here are our conjunctions. Okay, so our conjunctions are what piece the sentence together. And that's what you gain in the second level of Newton levels. Is usually this is when you get our conjunctions. Now, this is a time conjunction. An American university professor was climbing in Nepal. That could be a sentence on its own, but we're going to talk about what happened while. And so when he was climbing in Nepal, he what? He fell down a hole. We've stuck those two sentences. You could remember in the first version, he was climbing in Nepal, he fell down a hole. So now we have tied them together with this linking verb. What links these two ideas? That's when he fell down the hole. So the ice was 22 meters deep and the man got trapped in it. So this is our compound sentence. We've got two whole sentences stuck together with a conjunction. All right. So that's what makes a compound. So remember, I've been saying compound and complex. Compound is when you use a conjunction to put two whole sentences together. His arm and 5 ribs were broken. It's a complete sentence. He didn't give up, right? And he moved out of the gap. There we go. We've got 3 of them strung together. Well done. Okay. So can you see how we've added sentences together in this level? So that's how we use conjunctions. All right. Let's look at our compound complex sentences now. Let's look at some clauses. Right. Thanks. On to the next one. Yes, your question?
Yeah, I have a question, but my question is the previous slide. Please, can you go back to, please?
Oh, okay.
No, not this one. Can you go back, please? No, the connection word.
The connection words here.
Yes, yes, please. No, the previous slide.
All the way up there. Connectors.
Yes, this one. And I'm looking for example about furthermore, the
Uh-huh.
second colon
Furthermore.
Furthermore, yes, I'm looking for example, please.
Okay. There's not one in this story, but we can do one. I could write
Thank you.
one. Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. Okay. Let's look at our complex sentences. And there we are. So remember when we were talking about Ali and we described him as our neighbor? Remember when we said Ali, who is my neighbor, went to the shop, right? So here we go. We've got John. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off my annotation for a moment and start highlighting clauses. So here we've got what's called a defining clause because it describes or defines John, right? So John, who is an associate geography professor at Western Kentucky University, was climbing a mountain in Nepal. Now we still need to find the verbs. Where are the verbs? Where is the main core sentence on this one? Where's the core sentence? We've got John
was climbing.
on climbing. Excellent. And we need, what was he climbing?
Mountain.
Yep, a mountain. And
Fell into.
notice we've got a conjunction here.
Fell.
I'm going to do the conjunction in blue. And what happened?
Fell.
John, exactly, fell. So we've got another another verb there. Where did he fall?
Into a
Into a crevasse. Exactly. So that. What about this section? In Nepal as a part of a research project. We've got where, right? Where was it? So remember, we've got who did what. John was climbing a mountain. John fell into a crevasse, right? We've got who did what. So which John? There's a lot of Johns in the world. Oh, John, who is an associate geography professor at Western Kentucky University, was climbing a mountain where? In Nepal. Why? Why was he climbing the mountain?
As part of his research.
Excellent. There we go. All right. So look at that is a complex compound sentence. That's what we're aiming for. This is why we build them up. This is why I show you how to find the core sentence, how to start with a core sentence and add those clauses to it. We could, by the way, say, if we put this in a different tense, Wilfred, we could say John, who is an associate geography professor, John climbed a mountain in Nepal and furthermore fell into a crevasse. Okay, it's not a normal, but you see how that would work. It's additional information. It's the other thing that happened. I hope that makes sense. Or we could say, furthermore, he filmed his struggle inside. Okay, so let's look at the next one. He filmed his struggle inside the 22-meter hole, saying that he thought he was going to die after breaking his arm and 5 ribs, but he managed to crawl out the gap. I would say out of the gap, but that's okay. All right. Where is our core sentence? And what do we have for conjunctions and clauses?
Filmed.
Yes, we've got filmed as our first verb. Yoink. There we go. Pop that in yellow. There we go. He, obviously, is John. So I'll pop that in. He filmed. He filmed what? Yeah, his struggle.
Mhm.
There we go. So
Where
there we go.
inside
Where exactly?
the hole.
Now the next one's a little trickier. Okay. This one's
Saying.
harder. Yes, but what is saying?
He's saying that you fought.
Yes. So saying kind of acts as a verb, but actually this is all a clause. He filmed his struggle inside the 22-meter hole. If I put in the word while saying that he thought he was going to die after breaking his arm and 5 ribs. If I put in the word, now why would I say while? It's saying that something happened at the same time. So while he was filming his struggle, he was saying that he thought that he was going to die. So this is actually a clause, okay, of something that happened while he was filming this. Does that make sense? Can you see how that works? And then we've got a lovely, what's this called? It's a lovely conjunction, but we could use however. We could use anything off of that list that was additive or equal to but. So however, there we go. And now we're back to, so after a conjunction, we have a full sentence again, right? An independent clause, we call these, because it can stand on its own. A sentence is an independent clause. But he managed to crawl. Oh, we do say things in funny ways. So he managed, what did he manage? He managed to crawl out of the gap. Sorry, I just can't. Out the gap, no, out of the gap. Thank you. Sometimes I have to correct them. And yeah, I suppose this is more of a, we would say he crawled, but he managed to crawl. And where did he go? Once again, we've got an object. He got out. Okay. All right. If this had been he filmed his struggle, he said that he thought he was going to die, that would be different. Then it would be a conjunction. We would need a conjunction, and it would be another independent clause. because it's saying, because they've changed that verb to the ing form, it's strictly a clause. Okay. It's okay. So let's see if you can find the answers to the last one. What's the core sentence? So what is it in this sentence? What is the it referring to?
I think it's referred to the way he used to manage to Africa.
His escape, right?
Yes,
His rescue.
yes.
Yes.
It's correct.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
All right. And how about using only an ice axe? What is that describing?
How?
Yes. What do we have next? What's that magic word next?
Additional.
Yes, that's a conjunction.
Conjunction.
Exactly. So what's going to be now, if we've got the same subject, we don't always repeat it after a conjunction.
Okay.
So it took him
It took him.
hours.
Yeah.
So this is actually another predicate or object. It took him 6 hours. It took him another 3 to reach his tent. Okay. And then what have we got at the last? What is this word? What is where describing?
Relocation.
What location? It took him 6 hours using only an ice axe and another 3 hours to reach his tent.
Yeah. The tent.
With time.
Yes, where is describing the tent.
Yes.
Really good. Really good. You've got it. And now, what is this? What is before doing there?
An adverb.
It's a linking, isn't it?
Linking.
Linking adverb.
It's telling us what happened next. He spent the night before, so that's another basically linking or conjunction. And then what do we have here?
Reached him. The verb.
Yeah. So rescuers is the
Subject.
yes. Where's the verb?
Reached.
Reached. Yes. Reached. Perfect. There we go. It's yellow.
Him as object.
Exactly. And last of all, we have a description for him. When did they reach him?
Next day.
Next day.
The next day. Excellent. Really good. All right. So, oof. Yes, Wilfred.
I'm sorry, teacher. I don't understand where you spend the night. I didn't understand what you say.
Where he spent the night. Oh, it's describing the tent.
The tent.
Yes, it's
T.
describing the tent. The tent is where he spent the night. Right? Oops,
The,
sorry.
the place in which he slept the night.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the tent is being described by where he spent the night.
Okay, the tent. Okay, I understand.
Okay, there
Where
we
you
go.
were sleeping. The place you were sleeping.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you. Thank you, teacher. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No
Good job,
problem.
teacher.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, let's get to the last one. So, when you are writing an essay, okay, so we've got a lot of essays that possible essays to write. We've got the ones from task 1 from last week. We've got the ones from task 2 this week. When you are looking over your grammar, that's what you want to look for. Can you find in your sentences the subject, the verb, and the object? Do the subject and object and verb agree? So if it's a plural, they, make sure you've got the right verb form. All right. And are all of your additional is all of your additional information in clauses? All right. Or in full sentences with a conjunction linking them. All right, that's how you can scan. So just the way we scanned these to find all of these parts, that's how you can pull apart your own grammar to check it. Will you have time to do this kind of analysis in the exam? Of course not. But if you practice doing it, you'll see errors more quickly and you'll focus on building that structure. So once in a while, I want you to read lots and lots of News and Levels articles, but once in a while, I want you to pull one apart the way we have here. Try and analyze it. All right. Try and go back to that first level. Okay. We've got these short sentences. Can you read the first level and put those into a more complex sentence of your own? Okay. It's an excellent practice to do and the more you do that, you're just going to know the vocabulary. By the time you get to the exam, you can use mountain climbing as an example for someone overcoming an obstacle, and you've got the language to do it. All right. So thank you all very, very much. You will get these slides as an email so long as you're signed up. And if you've got questions, please go to this email address. And the other one is, if you are not yet, please join the WhatsApp group. We'll be doing some off the cuff we're going to be doing some short tutorial sessions after the mini IELTS, mini Olive is over. So stay in touch via the WhatsApp group if you can. And I'm going to stop recording now. So thank you very much.